Hey guys, well, the Department of Justice released a filing last night, and they did it in sort of their most, I call it, comprehensive attempt so far to make clear why they lowered themselves to go down to Bedbug Central on a 3-hour tour or more, 1 minute being too much, to Mar-a-Lago to raid Trump's home slash hotel slash formerly owned by a Russian oligarch, really gaudy looking garbage locale, um, and to try to retrieve documents. In it, they had a picture of these documents that they retrieved with classified in big bright letters strewn across the floor, which I'm thinking will become an iconic image of Donald Trump's downfall when he eventually goes to prison, inshallah, for violating the Espionage Act and being a traitor. To get to the key points of this, what they made clear was when they went down in June, so obviously they'd gone down before, they knew that Donald Trump had these documents, they requested to get them back, and Donald Trump and his team gave them some documents and told them they'd all been returned, all was good. And it turned out, no way, they were lying. The key thing here, and I don't know why the DOJ didn't just say, we're going in those rooms, but they wouldn't, his lawyer, Christina Bobb, we'll talk about in a second, as well as the Trump people would not let them enter certain rooms and look in certain places. So they were taking the word of people who had stolen documents, that there were no more stolen documents. Problem for them is they signed a written statement, a legal statement. Again, here's where we get to obstruction and perjury. And Donald Trump's problem is that he really seems, he's the morality tale if you ever saw The Cable Guy, or Scrooged with Bill Murray when he was a young kid and how TV became everything, right? Or if you want to be more serious, Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death, who basically predicted where we'd be right now back, I guess it was the 70s or 80s, where as TV took over for reading, facts would become immutable. We wouldn't know what was true and what was not true, and information would all be equal out there and we'd all lose our faculties. Hey, he predicted some things right. Donald Trump has always been somebody who literally is like the TV is his life, right? He watches 12 hours of Fox and Friends every day and every other Fox News show. He thinks if something good happens on TV, it must be good. He thinks if somebody's on TV, that means they must know something. Larry Kudlow was on CNBC, so he hired him for an economics job. I think Kaylee McAnany had been on talking about the election a lot as a pundit, so he hired her to be his press person. This is sort of the history of Donald Trump. There are many more figures like that. I mean, look, at Mehmet Oz, he pushed fake diet pills on a successful daytime TV show. He'd be a great Senate candidate. Herschel Walker, famous for playing football, got to be a great candidate. He was on TV a lot. It's his whole life. It's his whole belief system. You can tell when he talks about how their ratings are terrible and those ratings are great. If the ratings are good, it's good. If the ratings are bad, it's bad. If you're on TV and you're famous because you're on TV, you're important. And I mean, his biography said it. He wanted to be the guy that walked into restaurants and they gave him a seat right away. And he thought he could get that power from fame, which he did. But, he's got the mind of a child. So he never learned that just because a lot of other people fall for it doesn't mean it's really true. This is where we get to Christina Bobb. He hires his lawyer. I mean, that's because 47,212 approximately lawyers said absolutely no effing way am I working for you. Rudy Giuliani was probably busy doing some work at the Four Seasons Landscaping at the time. He also is someone who will likely be indicted for his role in Georgia. And so Trump needed a lawyer. And he found himself, in most people's, if you were doing like baseball or football, this would be like your 127th round choice. Christina Bobb. Now, why did he think she'd be successful? Well, she was an anchor on OAN. OAN is so freaking nuts, like Newsmax, like sort of looks at OAN and says, those MFers are nuts. And she did these weekly reports, campaign fraud and, stolen votes and all the kind of garbage they make up to attack the Democrats. And so, of course, to Trump, it's like, she's going to make a damn good lawyer. And he made her his lawyer. Problem with Christina Bobb is she really isn't, and she isn't very smart. And so she signed these documents saying that they completely cooperated. They'd allowed the DOJ to search everywhere that they needed to in June, and they'd given back all the documents. That was a lie. Those were false statements. And now Andrew Weisselman, a former federal prosecutor, Ryan Goodman over at Just Security, former Defense Department counsel, have written that she'd better find herself a good lawyer and probably stop talking. It's really interesting and funny how Trump's lawyers always end up going to prison because that's the quality of lawyer he gets. But again, like, he thought she'd know what she was doing because she was on TV. So now Trump world is really, they're big mad. They're trying to downplay the filing from last night, which I have to tell you is gargantuan. I have a feeling it would be an indictment of Trump right now, except for the fact that it's getting close to an election. And you see, they can only do those kinds of things, like Jim Comey getting up and talking about an election about Hillary Clinton's emails 11 days before an election where it's a Democrat. Those are the rules. You can't when it's a Republican. You got to play fair with them. But in the end, this is just the usual. Right. We now have further confirmation that Trump lied, kept documents that were classified. Why he did it? He had it mixed in with his personal items like passports, which is why those ended up getting taken, and he cried about that. So he saw them as his personal items. He was, there was rumors he had something on Macron's sex life. Why did he have that? It seems plainly obvious. He was going to blackmail people, and he was going to, for money, for protection, for getting back into power, whatever it was. And he and his legal staff and others around him lied about it to the FBI in June, and these documents are still there, as you can see in this image, which you will see because it'll become iconic, of all these documents strewn across the floor, including the one that has all of the information, or a lot of information, on our undercover operatives abroad, who in 2019 the New York Times reported just started disappearing, and that they were concerned what was going on. Kushner tried to set up a back channel to Putin. Kushner was WhatsApping late at night, love stories with MBS over in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia gave him $2 billion. Russia said nice things about Trump. I'm sure there's no connections between any of these things, but Trump's lawyers better lawyer up. Doesn't matter how angry they get, how much they throw a fit. They're dead to rights in this new document, and they're in a lot of trouble. And so is Donnie, and it feels good. Guys, if you like this, we're growing quickly. I want to make it to 8,000 in the next day, and we're like 300 away because I set that goal. I actually set a goal bigger. I set my goals too high to purposely do better. Please subscribe and turn on your notifications, comment, share this with anybody you know who might join. Let's see if we can do it by the end of September 1st, tomorrow, if I can be at 8,000 subscribers. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.